You're from Canada, right?
Originally, yeah. Yeah.
And from Canada. What's the difference between Canada and America? What kept you here?
Population more than anything.
Oh.
See, all the population and the good weather and the opportunity is down here in the States.
Right.
And Canada is a good place to be from. but you know, for me, it got too cold in the winter. And,
oh, yeah. I don't like
and I grew up in Alberta, Canada, you know, Calgary, Alberta, Canada. And although it works in my favor now, it was a very segregated, sort of like a prejudiced area, especially
Nice.
Calgary.
Nice.
Yeah, Calgary was known at one time as one of the most racist cities in North America.
Really?
Yeah, they had a Holocaust denier living about 20 miles outside of Calgary that wrote books how the Holocaust never happened and blah, 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 you know that. So that's the kind of mentality.
Wow.
And I had a band there. We had the first rhythm and blues band in Calgary. And so the black population was like about 4 or 5 families. That's about all. But I hooked up with the football player by the name of Tommy Milton. He was a descendant of the people from the States, you know, that went up there during the period, you know, of escaping the slavery. And so Tommy was a singer, I was a guitar player, so we put a band together. And because I had another partner, he was full-blooded native, Dick Bird. He was a Sarcee native. We called ourselves the Shades.
Oh, nice.
Because we were all different shades.
Different shades.
And we became very famous, and we got so successful that we got kicked out of Calgary.
Nice.
We got, the mayor actually called us into his office, and the chief of police was there, and I guess the city attorney.
Yeah.
And I thought we were going to get some kind of award, because what we did, we started a teen club. Because there was nothing for teenagers to do back then, you know, in the 50s. And so we started a club. And by starting a teen club, you get things donated to you, you know. And so the Legion Hall donated their venue, their dance hall, which was in the middle of Calgary, downtown Calgary. And we got it every Saturday night. And oh man, we packed that sucker.
Nice.
And we had people coming from all over Alberta, BC, even down from the States, coming to hear the band. But we got so popular that the police, and because it was a Saturday, and they closed, you know, the what do you call it, the church laws, you know, closed the bars at midnight.
Yeah.
Midnight.
Oh, midnight.
In Calgary.
Whoa.
It was midnight. So we got a whole bunch of rock and roll kids with nothing to do at 12 o'clock midnight.
Right.
And so they felt we were the problem. And so the mayor, and they wanted us to leave town for Christmas. And that would have been our biggest time. But we were so glad to get out of there. We never came back.
Amazing. How did Cheech and Chong come about?
Cheech, again, was in the 60s, was up in Canada dodging the draft. Like he got drafted and he didn't want to go, so he became a landed immigrant in Calgary.
So did you know him in Canada too?
No. Well, I met him there, but I didn't know him in Calgary. By that time, I'm 10 years older than Cheech. And so when I got kicked out of Calgary, he was still in high school. And then when we got discovered in British Columbia by Motown. And so I signed with Motown, or the band signed with Motown, went to Detroit, 67. And then when I came back, I got fired from Motown. That's another thing. every advance I made, it was because I got fired.
Nice.
And so when I got fired from Motown, I came back to Vancouver, and that's when I ran into Cheech. Because when I came back to Vancouver, even though I'd been with Motown, I wasn't the best musician. I was a songwriter, but not the best musician. And I saw a theater group called The Committee in San Francisco, and I fell in love with their humor. And so then in my mind, I wanted to do what The Committee was doing. They played music as well, but I ended up starting an improvisational strip joint in a strip club, because
you were in a strip club?
Well, this is Canada, okay. The first club was given to me because the guy built a building, and he wanted a club in there.
Right.
And so he literally gave me a club.
Right on.
We built that club up so that was really doing incredible business. That's when Diana Ross and Berry Gordy eventually saw the band, and they hired us. Right on, as soon as Diana Ross saw us, she signed us.
Nice.
And our claim to fame as the Bobby Taylor and the Vancouvers was a few things. Our number one claim to fame was we were the ones that discovered the Jackson 5.
Oh, okay.
The Jackson 5, they won a contest to perform at the Regal Theater in Chicago with Bobby Taylor and the Vancouvers, my group, and Jerry Butler. And that was the lineup.
That's amazing.
Yeah. And
wow.
So the Jackson 5 came, they performed, they were so good.
Yeah.
Michael sang My Girl, and he was a little adult at the time.
Right.
He could dance, could sing, could do everything. And so Bobby told Joe Jackson, the father, and that, he says, bring the boys to Detroit, because we were in Chicago. Bring the boys to Detroit, and we'll get them signed with Motown. And so Joe said, okay. So the Jackson 5 moved to Detroit, or the kids anyway,
right,
and stayed with Bobby for almost 2 months, 1 month for sure. And that's before Barry got around to seeing him, Berry Gordy.
Right.
And then, of course, when they saw him, and they signed.
Yeah.
No, they changed the story. They changed it where Diana Ross found the Jackson 5.
Oh, I do remember hearing it. Why did they change it?
Because who was Bobby Taylor and the Vancouvers? Nobody.
Oh.
Who's Diana Ross?
Yeah.
Everybody.
I see that, yeah.
So they wanted Diana to have
so
that.
Did they give you guys any credit at all?
Well, we did a documentary, and in the documentary, I tell the story, and in this documentary, they did the research, fact-finding, and they found out that Bobby Taylor produced the first Jackson 5 album.
Mm.
And so that's our proof.
Oh, right on.
Because other than that, Bobby never produced any other album. But that was our reward for bringing Motown. Bobby got to produce their first album.
Amazing. That's amazing, man. And so how did you guys, when you got into movies, the first time that I remember becoming aware of you guys is that you were in movies and things, TV shows.
Yeah.
And you guys was always potheads.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
How did you guys become movie star potheads?
Well, that was all, again, we got fired all the time.
You're always getting fired.
Okay, so we got fired. After I started the strip club theater, and I turned the girls from strippers into actresses. And, because when I got fired from Motown because I had to miss a gig, Bobby had split from us. That's the way Motown and those groups do. When they get a good singer, they move the singer by themselves. And so Bobby got moved. Then my job was backing up Chris Clark, another singer for Berry Gordy. And in the meantime, I had been deported from the States because I'm Canadian. And so we're in Detroit, that's an everyday occurrence,
Right.
you self-deport there. And so I had to get a green card to work.
Oh.
And so I was in the process of getting a green card, and I had to miss a gig in order to do a meeting. And the road manager told me, he's Johnny Bristol, the road manager said, if you miss a gig, I told him what I had to do, and he said, you miss a gig, you're fired.
Whoa.
And so I couldn't argue with him because, you know, I was always talking to Berry Gordy, you know, never anybody else. And so sure enough, I went and did the meeting, got my green card, came back, got fired. So that's when I decided to go back to Vancouver, quit Motown, and just go back, work on the clubs, put another group together. I didn't want to, and when Berry Gordy found out I was fired, he pulled me up right away. You're not fired, you know, because Berry and I really had a nice connection. Because we brought him the Jackson 5, so I think he had a nice thing for me. But I told Berry, I said, I want to be a Berry Gordy. I don't want to work for one, you know. And he says, I understand totally. Yeah. So he gave me a nice severance pay, and then I moved to. By that time, I had my girlfriend and our illegitimate baby. And I was a Motown musician. Yeah, had a wife and family in Vancouver, and a girlfriend on the road. And
wow, amazing!
Yeah, but I mean that's just the way it is. We got
everybody
a movie
was doing that. You're right about that.
We got a movie out now. It's being released. It's Cheech Chong's last movie. They're calling it, but it's a story of my two wives. Kind of, it's in there. My first wife was black, and
you had a black wife?
Yeah.
Wow.
And my oldest daughter, Ray Dawn Chong, very famous actress, worked with Arnold, you know, in Commando.
Really?
And yeah, she's worked with. She was what's it called? Quest for Fire. She was a star in Quest for Fire. Oh yeah, she's.
So
that's Ray Dawn. That's my oldest daughter.
With your black wife?
Yeah.
I mean, with your black girlfriend on the road?
Well, actually, it's a black girl. No, it was a white girlfriend on the road.
And
a black girlfriend with the first wife. I mean, the first daughter. And then I married my childhood sweetheart, another black girl, Maxine, and Maxine's claim to fame is that she was Harvey, what's a Family Feud?
Steve Harvey.
Steve Harvey. She was Steve Harvey's secretary when he was on the radio.
Oh, okay.
For years.
Right.
And so Steve, when I was on Jeopardy one time, I mentioned to Steve, oh, that nice lady. Well, that's my first wife.
Really?
Yeah.
So let me just hear this. You had this one wife in Canada.
Yeah.
She was black.
Yeah.
And then you had a girlfriend on the road.
Yeah.
She was white.
Also from Canada.
And then you had a black.
First
broke up with the first wife.
The first girlfriend.
Oh, you broke up with the first girlfriend.
Well, what happened?
What?
It was
Were you like a slut maker?
I got so much into the black culture that I became black.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, you know, once you go black, you can't go back.
Well, I can't go back. I can go to court, though.
So let me get these wives straight. So you had one wife in Canada at one time.
Yeah.
And on the road, when you moved to Detroit, you had a white girlfriend.
Yep.
On the road.
Yep.
And then you broke up with the first black wife in Canada.
Yep.
And then you met another black girl.
No. I missed that one first. Okay, we'll back up a bit. I had my wife, the only woman that I really married first, although I'm married now, Maxine, was the daughter of the organ player in my first band.
Oh, okay.
And that's how we got together,
right.
You know. And she, when I met her, she was 14.
Oh.
And when I married her, she was 20.
Nice.
You know, yeah. And it was one of those arranged marriage where we met, we fell in love, we broke up. Because the minute I quit being a musician, she didn't want anything to do with me. And then I went on the road. And then when I was on, I was a musician.
Yeah.
And
How old were you then when you met Maxine?
19. No, when
when you met this one?
My first wife?
The one, the organ player, the one you were married to, and she dumped you.
Okay. I was 17.
The 14-year-old, how old were you?
She was 14, I was 17.
Nice age.
And then when she turned 20, we got married.
Yeah.
Legally. Again.
You got all these wives confused.
No, here's what happened. Man, I told you I was black. See, once you're black, you get all back. Once you're black, you got your girlfriends.
Yeah.
Your acquaintances.
Yeah.
Your assistants.
Yeah.
Your secretary. Your business partner.
Yeah.
The wife is just the wife.
Yes.
My wife, Maxine, very Christian lady. She played the piano in church. Father was a minister. Brother was a real good jazz musician. Oh, and her other brother, ever heard of Three Dog Night?
Yes, I have heard of him.
He was a drummer.
Really?
Yeah, that's Floyd. That's we're royalty.
Right on, man.
See, Floyd was a drummer,
and
he was my drummer until him and the singer got in a fight, and then he quit and became Three Dog Night. Well, what I did, I
totally remember that group.
I quit, I met Cheech, and became Cheech and Chong.
Right.
In the meantime, I got married to Maxine, and then I met my now wife. She was next door, a next door neighbor.
Is she black?
Hmm?
Is she black?
No.
The one you with now?
No.
She's white?
I got so black, I married a white woman. I use that all the time, man. I became Charles Barkley,
And so, what did it feel like, or does it feel like, to be black?
The women love it.
Yeah.
Oh. I learned. See, the thing is, most guitar players, white guys, you see them all the time.
Right.
They're the ones that do the drugs and get high, and and they get girls because girls get them.
Right. Absolutely.
But the brothers, the brother that taught me, Tommy Milton, he passed away. But Tommy Milton, he just had some of those pro athletes. They got a special room for the girlfriends that show up, and they got to keep them apart from where the wives are,
What a mess.
Well, because think about it, the athletes are the most gorgeous, well-built creatures on the planet.
Yeah.
Not only they can do amazing things with the sports, but they look amazing. Yeah. They're gorgeous. Now, come on.
Yeah. I understand.
And what is their job as a man on this planet?
That's
right. To populate.
To make babies.
That's right.
Yeah.
And that's why we're so good looking when we're young. Yeah. Because when we get older, we're not supposed to make babies anymore.
That's right.
And that's why we get that look.
So are you still black?
Am I still black? Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
You're still black.
Oh, you never go back.
So do you think and feel black, or you just know how to be a black person in action?
Well, you know what I learned? Because I got into the culture.
Right.
You see. You don't get in the culture easy, And in fact, most of the white guys, they don't.
Right.
They don't make the culture. They're the white boy, They're yeah, that's okay. Yeah, it's him. But with me, see, I'm mixed. I'm half Chinese, so I'm not white.
You don't look. You look Chinese, but you don't look Chinese.
Yeah, I know. The part that's Chinese doesn't show.
Have you ever dated a Chinese woman?
Oh yeah.
You dated a Chinese woman?
Not date. Back in the day.
Been with.
I knew them.
Yeah.
We were friends.
Right.
I don't think I ever went on a date.
Right.
No, the only date I were. See, I'm a musician. if you want to date me, you got to take me out.
Yeah, that's right.
The musician, you
Yeah.
go, okay, never mind, I'll pay. That's what you hear all the time when you're a
Right.
musician. Because we're poor-ass musicians, man. Motown, man, I was, Barry's making all that money, and we're getting paid,
Yeah.
Here's your little bit, But that's okay.
Yeah. So which culture of women are difficult to deal with? Black, Chinese, white, or which is most difficult?
For me?
When you dealt with the different races of women, which was most difficult to handle? Or, want to be crazy?
Well, it's all an individual thing. It's very individual. My oldest daughter's mother, gorgeous lady, but she was a rebound because my first girlfriend put me down. And you know why she put me down?
Why?
Because I quit being a musician.
Yeah, that's
See,
right.
I was a musician in Vancouver.
Right.
Now I'm attractive. But come back and I got a job as a truck driver.
Oh, that would do it.
I had a steady
no
job,
ego
I had
in that.
everything,
Yeah.
but as a truck driver.
Yeah.
And it was like, eh. And so...
Were you hurt by that?
Oh, yeah.
It broke your heart?
Well, it broke my heart. Then I met this other tall, gorgeous lady, and we had a telephone romance, just on the phone. And
Right.
she was so into jazz. That was my church, the jazz music, because I believe that's the ultimate church.
Yeah.
Just like I believe golf is the ultimate sacred game on the planet.
Right on.
And
so which race of women were most difficult to deal with?
well, if you're honest, and you have to be,
Yeah.
where I was, I was the most difficult one to deal with. The women, they love me. They love me unconditionally, and they still love me unconditionally. But I support.
Right.
I got I'm very generous with my family.